Most people think authority is something you add. More confidence, more dominance, more charisma, more energy, or even more intensity. But in high-stakes conversations, the people with the most authority usually look like they're doing less. That's the part most people misunderstand, because once someone becomes overly focused on appearing powerful, their communication starts becoming performative. And performance creates leakage. You hear it in the voice, you see it in the body language, and you feel it in the pacing. The conversation stops feeling grounded and starts feeling managed. And people notice that immediately, even if they can't explain why. One of the fastest ways to lose authority in a conversation is to sound like you're trying to sound authoritative. That sounds subtle, but it changes everything, because real authority and performance authority create completely different emotional reactions in other people. Performed authority creates tension. Grounded authority creates stability. And human beings generally trust stability far more than performance. You see this constantly in business. People lowering their voice artificially, trying to sound executive, overusing aggressive language, trying to dominate with every silence, forcing eye contact, using rehearsed power phrases they saw online somewhere. And the entire interaction starts feeling calculated, not confident, but calculated. That distinction matters because confidence does not need constant evidence. Insecurity does. One of the strongest communicators I ever watched barely spoke at all during a negotiation. He never interrupted, never raised his voice, never rushed to fill silence. But every time he spoke, the room recalibrated around him. Why is that? Because he was not trying to control perception. He was focused on clarity. And clarity creates gravity. That is something most people miss. People think authority comes from intensity. A lot of the time, authority actually comes from reduction. Fewer unnecessary words, less emotion, less explaining, less proving, and definitely more performance. Weak communicators often believe authority is built through visible effort. Strong communicators understand authority is usually revealed through restraint. That does not mean passive, does not mean quiet, and it definitely does not mean timid. It means intentional. There is a major difference between controlled intensity and emotional performance. Controlled intensity feels precise. Performance feels reactive. You can hear this in arguments constantly. Somebody starts speaking louder, faster, more emotional. Not because they became more correct, but because they became more desperate to maintain control of the perception. That shift changes the entire psychological structure of the conversation. People stop focusing on the message and start focusing on the emotional management happening underneath it. And once that happens, authority starts collapsing. This is also why some highly intelligent people struggle in leadership positions, because they overmanage how they are perceived. They try to sound smart, they try to sound composed or sound strategic, but the audience feels the effort underneath the delivery. And effort changes perception. Real authority often feels effortless, not because it's easy, but because the person is no longer performing for approval while speaking. That changes the emotional weight of every sentence. Here's the irony. The more secure someone becomes, the less they usually need to appear impressive. And that creates a completely different communication style. They pause naturally, they allow silence naturally, and they speak directly. They stop decorating every sentence. They stop trying to win every moment. And because of that, people start assigning more weight to what they say. And the most dangerous habits in modern communication advice is teaching people to constantly optimize their presence, optimize your posture, optimize your vocal tone, or optimize your confidence, or even controlling your eyes and your gestures. Eventually, people stop communicating and start monitoring themselves. That destroys natural authority because self-monitoring creates hesitation, and hesitation creates visible instability. The strongest communicators are usually externally focused, not internally obsessed. They are paying attention to the room, the emotional temperature, timing, resistance, leverage, emotional reactions, pressure shifts. They are present, not performing. This is a massive distinction. So here's a useful question. Before your next important conversation, ask yourself this. Am I trying to communicate clearly, or am I trying to look powerful while communicating? Because those are not the same thing, and the second one usually creates the exact opposite result. Authority is not built by acting powerful. It is built when people stop feeling your need to appear powerful. That's where conversational gravity begins, and once you understand that, you stop performing confidence and start communicating with intent.